Hello and welcome yet again to another video. However, this time it is a bit different, because I am taking apart and rebuilding a badly refurbished prop shaft by a Maserati specialist. So to start off, here's the spline yoke shaft which had a PTFE coating, and funnily enough, the Maserati specialist told me that the PTFE was not required and was shaved off. But when I placed the yoke back in the prop shaft, there was so much play that I knew something was wrong. So for starters, I had to buy me another complete prop shaft. Also, since the U-joints have already been installed, it is possible to take them out, however some of them got damaged upon removal. Now here's the prop shaft as it was brought back from the Maserati specialist, and I'm going to let you, the viewer, to take a good look at the prop shaft components. Also notice that all the paint has been chipped due to having the U-joint hammered in. So to whom has not seen the problem with this assembly, take a good look at this exploded view. If you haven't figured out the problem, allow me to explain. Here's the end of the prop shaft, and here's the end to be connected to the yoke. This is the center bearing that holds the prop shaft in place, however it had a specific position, and yet again it was installed the other way around. Bottom line is I had it compared with the used prop shaft I bought, and one can clearly see the problem. Everything, and I mean everything, was installed the other way around. The spline yoke piece was ruined, and here's the center bearing which was installed the other way around. Now one might say, why not replace the shaft with the newly bought one? The problem to that was that the newly bought prop shaft was from a 430. So if you look closely, the shaft is longer than that of a Spyder. So with that, I had to fix mine. Here's an example of the prop shaft in place, which one can clearly see that it does not fit. The sad part was that I had to throw away brand new U-joints to have them replaced with slightly inferior parts, which resulted having me losing so much money with these so-called Maserati professionals. Their service costed me a bucket load of money due to the name brand. I had to ship the parts to have them refurbished, and at the end of the day I had to buy me another prop shaft, costing me €200, and I had to buy me two new U-joints, which costed me €54 for the two of them, and they were of a Land Rover Discovery, which fit perfectly, but I had to throw away two new Maserati U-joints which costed me €130 for both of them. Now that I took the U-joints out, I gingerly worked around taking out the center bearing safely. So what I did was I cut a pipe in half, at the right length, at exactly around the bearing's inner race. This had to be done as tight as possible, because if I get it wrong, a center bearing will cost me €220. So when I welded the pipe around the shaft, I also welded two bolts, one on each side. While this was done, I took it on a 20-ton press to push out the shaft and separate the two parts. Once that was done, I managed to save the bearing. So the process was reversed, and this time I had to apply some bearing fit glue since the bearing was already pushed out one time. When the center bearing was assembled, it was on to assembling the rest of the U-joints. The technique I used was by using a vise as a press. Once everything was installed, the joints were greased and prepped for spray once again. So this is the final layout of the prop shaft, properly installed and properly resprayed. Sitting next to the newly rebuilt prop shaft is the new used prop shaft with the bad yoke installed so that one can see the difference between the lengths. Once everything was done, the supporting brackets have been installed and the prop shaft flanges are aligned to each respective end. Also, the flange bolts were replaced to a higher grade of tensile bolts. These bolts were upgraded from a 10.9 tensile to a 12.9 tensile strength.